Hey everybody, I'm popping in here on a Wednesday evening and just checking in with you guys, answering some questions about autoimmunity and wanting to know how you guys are doing. Just finished a big day with patients, dealing with a lot of Hashimoto's today. Got a couple of ANA positive markers, diagnosed one person with lupus, and yeah, lots happening. There's, ever since COVID, then we really have autoimmunity has really exploded. So we're dealing with a lot of that. I'm just finding so much of it on blood work that I'm managing it every day. So this is why I'm making lots of videos about autoimmunity and putting a lot of more longer form videos on YouTube, but also creating an autoimmune shift program. So if you want to get educated, take a course, it's a self-paced course, be a part of a community that there's an autoimmune support community and there's resources and what do my labs mean and what does this mean? What should I do? All the different kind of directions of like where to go next is something that I'm doing. So I'm wondering if you guys have questions about autoimmunity or how you guys are doing. A lot of my patients are having autoimmune symptoms like they're having joint pain, they're having rashes, they're having just exhausting, crushing fatigue. So many of my patients are dealing with a lot of these symptoms, lots of inflammation in the joints, and inflammation markers that are high in the blood work, but people don't know why they're high, like what's actually happening. Lots of things to consider with autoimmunity. We want to find out what you think your root cause is on your autoimmunity. Like, what do you think happened? We are seeing so much autoimmunity after COVID. Hi, Isaiah, neurotrauma surgeon. Hi, I'm glad that you popped in. I specialize in autoimmunity. I'm working with a program to get people to take, I have a self-paced course so that people can understand like how all the different factors of autoimmunity are just things that they can control on their day-to-day, managing their blood sugar, taking vitamin D, getting sleep, taking some glutathione, figuring out maybe what the root cause is. Do you have a chronic sinus infection? Do you have leaky gut? Do you have like long COVID? Where's that coming from? So lots going on, trying to weave in some functional medicine principles in with the traditional medical procedures on trying to manage autoimmunity. A lot of my patients come in, I've diagnosed them, they go to the rheumatologist, they get a medication if they need it. And then we weave in a lot of different things like vitamin D, glutathione, ways to get them sleeping. Do they need hormones? What do they need? How are we going to get this person more balanced? A lot of you have prediabetes, or your blood sugar's high, your blood sugar's low, you have unstable blood sugar, you're not sleeping well. How did gluten and dairy trigger you? Like, do you have food triggers, right? This is really important for us to understand, like, what are we dealing with what are your triggers? How did your immune system get so out of balance? So things to understand. So someone says your lymph nodes are so swollen, they keep saying reactive. So this is tough, right? So a lot of my patients are just dead exhausted. They have joint pain, you've got rashes, your lymph nodes are swollen. You're getting all these messages from your immune system that things are not okay, right? You're not feeling good. And the question is, how do we get started, right? Sometimes I'll get my patients to do an autoimmune paleo diet. So you're kind of just on a little bit of a restrictive diet for a few weeks to try to figure out, like, does food trigger you? How does food make you feel, right? What if you got off of gluten and dairy? What if you got off of grains for a little while? What if you got off of some nightshades? Would that help? I mean, everybody's really different. So becomes like a little exploration of discovery to try to figure out, like, what should we do? Like, how do we do this best, right? A lot of my patients feel better if they're off of gluten and dairy specifically. The top 5 foods that I find that are triggery for my patients are gluten and dairy, corn, soy, and egg. Doesn't mean that's all of them for you, right? It doesn't mean that at all. So the best way to test is to remove some foods that you're considering that might be triggering for you, and then bring them in one at a time. How do they make you feel? Does it make your joints feel swollen? Does it make you have headache? Does it make you have a rash? Things like that. We really want to watch how food makes us feel. Okay. Not everybody's the same. Somebody says, Morgan says, I think that, Morgan, I think I saw you last night. Welcome back. I think what started my autoimmunity was mold exposure in college. Okay. So that is a trigger, right? I mean, it's really interesting though, isn't it? Where some people get exposed to mold and they get really sick, and some people get exposed to mold and they don't get sick, right? So this is not a blanket, everybody has mold. That's not the way it goes, right? This is not a blanket trigger either. So yeah, that's a real stress for you. So we've also got, is there an autoimmune condition that is linked to vestibular migraines? Not really. I mean, I see vestibular migraines, dizziness, migraines a lot in my office, and I find that there's triggers. It's not always an autoimmune trigger though. I feel like sometimes it's food triggers. Sometimes it's if you get like a sinus infection, you can get a trigger. It's tricky. I mean, we have to really run down the line with migraine triggers. Sometimes certain foods, like if you got exposed to chocolate, or if you had, cured meats, or if you've got some sharp cheeses or things like that, some traditional migraine triggers can cause you to have vestibular migraines. That's possible. So, do you know about SIBO? Sure. I worked with 2 patients today that have SIBO. They have been just on the low FODMAP diet, but never actually done anything else. So people with SIBO have overgrowth of bad bacteria, right? More dominant bad bacteria, say, than good, or there's some like methane producing bacteria, and that usually causes constipation. You can have hydrogen producing bacteria that causes diarrhea. So this can be sort of like your IBS-C or your IBS-D, right? So that can be sort of part of SIBO, right? It's like we have to take that into consideration. So there's some of my patients will get on an antibiotic called Xifaxan, can be very helpful. Some of my patients would take like a formula, like herbal kind of formula. One of them is called GI Microbex. There's a Candibactin, AR and BR, that really are oil of oregano and berberine and things like that can kill off some of the bacteria. They seem to both be effective. That's the herbal formulas tend to take longer, but can be effective. You can do a breath test to figure out if you have SIBO. Your doctor can send you to Quest or LabCorp, and they have you drink something, and then you blow into a bag and they look and see if there's methane or hydrogen in there. So these are things that you can test for. But yeah, sometimes a low FODMAP diet is helpful. So that's like really you're taking a lot of the sugars out of your diet, the things that feed those bacteria. So you're kind of starving them, right? So it can be helpful. But that can be really helpful with just a diet. Food, how does food make you feel? Yeah, elimination diets. Yes, okay, so power of kindness, good. Yes, elimination diet changed her life. Some foods, 30 seconds in pain, right? So if you want to get on maybe you want to just get curious about food, there is a food plan called Autoimmune Paleo. And what they do is it's kind of a restrictive diet. It's not meant to be on forever. It's just meant to be curious about like taking foods out and putting foods back in. Okay. So you would take out all the grains. That would be gluten too. You would take out dairy and eggs, nightshades and nuts and seeds, pretty much. That's what it is. So it's a lot of just meats and veggies, right? And then you just see how you feel on that. It's a very basic kind of bland diet. And then you reintroduce things. Put the nuts and seeds back in. Does that change your symptoms, right? Put the nightshades in. How are your joints? A lot of people with rheumatoid arthritis seem to have a hard time with nightshades. So all of these things, then you start reintroducing things, and you really see how you feel without these foods. So how does it make you feel, right? So these are really important things to try. These are free, right? You can do these food intolerance testings. I love Cyrex Labs. They do a really nice job with raw and cooked foods. They do they do IgG and IgA testing. It can give us an idea about things that are problematic. They can be expensive, right? You can do this on your own. If you just kind of like clear out your food and then reintroduce foods, let's see how you feel, right? Food makes you feel a certain way. If you feel yucky after you ate something, you need to figure out like what was in that meal that didn't work for you. It can even be a spice, right? People get really sensitive to things. Yeah. Oh, thank you for joining in. I really appreciate you popping in. Everybody, I'm seeing some, I see Fishhead 911. I love it. Yeah, this is great. And Rivki Soloff, I saw you on YouTube. Welcome back. I know. Yesterday I was on a live and nobody could hear me because YouTube. I don't know. We got it fixed. So interstitial cystitis. Okay, so this is an autoimmune condition where the immune system is attacking the lining of your bladder. So it gets very sensitive. Sometimes I have some patients that can't have oxalates, and that bothers their bladder. Spinach and chocolate, and gosh, I don't have the list in front of me of oxalates, but things like that. You could do an oxalate-free diet. That might be helpful. Let's see what else is helpful. It's not often a UTI. Sometimes people will take a D-mannose supplement, which is it's like a simple sugar, but it actually can help the bladder become more slippery if you felt like there was an infectious piece to this as well. So, but inflammation for sure. Figuring out what your food triggers are could be helpful. Vitamin D could be helpful. Black seed oil, turmeric could be helpful. You want to do one thing at a time and see if you can get a supplement that's helpful or a food change that would be helpful. Okay. So, not sure why I react more to frozen organic wild berries as opposed to fresh. That's curious, isn't it? I don't know why that would be. That's really curious. Unless the frozen ones were a little older and maybe had higher histamine in it. I don't know. Well, speaking of interstitial cystitis, it can be high histamine too. Some people are noticing that if they get on a low histamine diet, they might be able to get their bladder to feel better. So it's another thing to consider. These are all things that we just have to learn. We just have to try things. We have to figure things out because not all of this is the same, right? I have fibromyalgia and diabetes. I haven't had a solid bowel movement in a long time. I was told it is E. coli. Okay, so we want to think about fibromyalgia. It can be an autoimmune condition. You could have polymyositis. You could have just myositis. You can have dermatomyositis. There's all sorts of things that are sort of like muscle joint itis, right? That's could be an ANA marker, right? So that's something that you might have some autoimmunity. Diabetes. You have type 2 diabetes? So I would work hard on seeing if you can get your type 2 diabetes to disappear. Let's get you on a blood sugar monitor. Are you doing a blood sugar monitor? If you have diabetes, you could qualify for a blood sugar monitor through your doctor. If you don't want to do that, you can do a Lingo or a Stelo. Those are usually meant for people who don't have full-blown diabetes though. So talk to your doctor about getting a blood sugar monitor. I want you to, and I have a nutritionist in my office here who actually specializes in this. If you want some support from a nutritionist that does CGMs and watches blood sugar, we could probably get your blood sugar more steady. Really understand what's spiking your blood sugar, understand how to put more protein and fats in, lower your carbs, and get your blood sugar like rolling through the day and not crashing and spiking. Okay. So just things to think about. So not having a solid bowel movement in a long time. It's hard to know if it's E. coli. It's hard to know if it's an overgrowth of bad bacteria. I like doing a test through a company called GI Map. It's a stool test. It gives you a little idea about, is there a lot of overgrowth? How's the good bacteria? How did you digest your food? Gives us a little clue. That can be really helpful. So fish head, you're back. They had modified cornstarch in baked beans and a lot of things that should now be okay. Yes. So yeah, sometimes when you're out to eat, you don't know what's mixed in what. I was at a breakfast place the other day and they put flour, just regular wheat flour. They mix it into their scrambled eggs. So, and it makes it lighter or something like that. So I can't do gluten. I have an ANA marker. Gluten gives me a headache. So I didn't know that. So I had a headache. It was not nice. And there are some really cool supplements that can help you to digest gluten if you get an exposure and you can't, because you're not tolerating gluten well. There's a really good one from Apex Energetics called Gluten Flam. And Gluten Flam has like the DPPV4 enzymes. And it's got aloe vera and it's got deglycerized licorice in it. It's got some soothing things. It's really nice to help you recover if you've had an exposure. Anyway, super helpful. Somebody took antibiotics, changed for a second. Went back to normal. Don't have a gallbladder. Okay. So if you don't have a gallbladder, sometimes that's really problematic on digesting fats, right? So you eat something that has fats in it, you don't have a gallbladder, you're not releasing bile and lipase to try to, you might get some lipase from your pancreas, but your gallbladder's not there to, do the timing of releasing bile. So I really like a product by Pure Encapsulations. It's called Digestion GB. Really helpful to take a couple of those with a meal. It's got some bile salts, it's got lipase, it's got some other enzymes. Might be really helpful, especially when people first get their gallbladder out. It's really like, oh my God, I have diarrhea all the time. So we just want it, the timing of the squirting of the bile is off because your gallbladder's gone. So things to think about. Sugar is your enemy for bladder pain. Okay. See, this is what is really important. We have to, and low histamine. Yes. Okay. Yes. So really feel like it's important for us to understand what triggers you, right? This is where you have to put your, Columbo hat on and really figure out like how to, handle the case, right? And I can help you pick some things apart, but you have to really be observant, right? It's important. Yeah. Do you know hydrogen sulfide SIBO though? Yeah, there's another one. So, gosh, there's a company, Trio Smart. What is it called? I think it's called Trio Smart. Oh, there's another word to it. I can't come up with it. I don't have a computer to look it up. But there's Dr. Pimentel has created a really interesting test for SIBO that has this has a little circle thing with like a filament in it. You pop it on your arm and a little blood goes into it, and you can mail it to them, and they will test for hydrogen sulfide SIBO, methane, and hydrogen. So that's something to check out. Look up Trio Smart. You can find it. You can order it through their website. Really helpful. Can stress trigger autoimmune disease? Absolutely. So, I mean, when you think about having a high stress event, high cortisol, I mean, it's like a stressful event, especially if it's a long period of time. Your high cortisol can stay high for a long period of time. And it's interesting when your cortisol goes high, your blood sugar is going to probably go with it because your body's saying, listen, we're going to run from a bear. Please give us some sugar so that we can run far away, right? So the blood sugar will go high and the cortisol goes high. That can create a lot of inflammation in the system. High cortisol for a long time can cause leaky gut. It's like a barrier. Like you have these barriers. We have skin barriers. We have gut barriers. We have esophageal barriers. We've got a blood-brain barrier. And if you have cortisol, it can even break some of the barriers. So if you have a barrier broken in your gut and you have leaky gut, now food that's supposed to be staying in the gut tube doesn't always stay in the gut tube. It can kind of leak into the bloodstream uninvited. And whenever you have an uninvited guest into the bloodstream, the immune system can kind of go a little wacko. And that can drive autoimmunity. So that's something. So both parents and grandparents died from colon cancer. Okay, so first of all, colonoscopy, make sure you get one. Second of all, how many vegetables are you eating? I need you to eat vegetables like it's like your job every day, like 6 cups of vegetables in a day. I need you to pile the vegetables in because when you eat vegetables, your microbiome eats those vegetables and makes something called butyrate. And butyrate is a short chain fatty acid, and it helps to heal the gut lining. And what they're finding is there's a very interesting correlation between colon cancer and low butyrate in the gut. So let's get the veggies in. Let's get the plants in. Let's make sure we get it. I mean, I'm more paleo, but I do eat a lot of veggies. So eating a lot of veggies is important, okay? I would say fruits too, but some people eat too many fruits and they spike their blood sugar. So I want you to be careful about too many fruits, right? Like berries, whatever. But yeah, you can also take a supplement that has short chain fatty acids in it, butyrate, propionate, acetate. I have one called Tributrin. I like it. It's from Apex. If you want any links to any supplements, you can send me a DM. You can say, this is my name, this is my email. I want that supplement you were talking about, and I can just pop you a link through FullScript. Pretty easy. So let me know. What are thoughts on running with autoimmune disease? What workouts do you recommend? Okay, so here's the deal with autoimmunity. I want you to exercise however you want. I want you to exercise because a lot of like the myokines coming off of the muscles helps with your mood and it helps with your immune system. It really helps you to feel better. Now, I want you to exercise, but I want you to feel recovered by the next day. Okay. If you feel like, wow, I exercised and 3 days later I'm still sore, you overdid it. You need to back it down. You need to do less. You just need to be able, like, I really want you to recover by the next day. You can't exercise and wipe yourself out and drive up all this inflammation and feel like that's a good thing, right? You don't want to drive yourself to inflammation. There's kind of like a bell curve, right? We don't want to do too little exercise. We don't want to do too much. If you want to run with autoimmune disease and you finish and you feel pretty decent and then the next day you feel fine, great. That's for you. That's awesome. I think I'm gluten intolerant. Kim Jong Ken, same. Me too. I can't do it. I can't ever do it. I do a little bit of it. It's like I get these pumping headaches right away in my temples. But I also have an ANA marker. Here's the thing about gluten and dairy. Okay. Gluten and casein, not lactose. I'm not talking about lactose. I'm talking about casein, the protein of dairy, and gluten, a protein of wheat. Those two proteins look very similar. They call it molecular mimicry to the tissues of our body. Weirdly, right? How could that be? I don't know. They've hybridized it. They've made it higher gluten. I don't know. So if you eat gluten and dairy, and then your immune system is like, listen, I don't like my thyroid, but I also don't like this gluten and dairy, and it kind of looks like my thyroid, then you're just going to drive the attack more. Just going to just drive it up. So it's called molecular mimicry. It's not nice. So I feel like you really need to think about staying off of gluten. Check out dairy too. Any experience with chronic fatigue syndrome? So I am finding with long COVID, say that long COVID specifically, I will do a test for leaky gut. And I have about 26, 27, I think, patients who have long COVID who I've done this test on. And every single one of them have a very severe leaky gut. All of them. Weird, right? I mean, I'm like, this is a thing. So I talked to Dr. Vijdani, who's the immunologist on staff at Cyrex Labs, which is where I do my leaky gut panel. And he's like, yes, if you have a broken barrier in your gut, especially it's a severe leaky gut, which would be like maybe you had COVID and maybe COVID drove your immune system down. Okay. And then there's another bacteria that got opportunistic, like an E. coli or a salmonella or something, or maybe something that's just living in your gut that got overgrown, a strep or staph or something like that. Then that can stick gram-negative bacteria, there's a whole list of them, C. diff, crazy things, can attach to the gut lining. And then it opens up the gut lining. And now you've got a barrier that's not there. So I tell patients it's kind of like living in a house with no doors. Something's coming in. Armadillos, raccoons, I don't know. People, things are coming in. So if you have a broken barrier, you got a lot of chaos happening, right? So I'll do that test only, and then I'll just do a bunch of labs and just see like, has her vitamin D, has her inflammation, what's happening with her thyroid, what's happening with the lipid panel and the CBC, and just all the basics, right? Like, let's see where the holes are. Make sure they don't have prediabetes or diabetes, because that drives the immune system crazy. So let's do that. And then I work on correcting the leaky gut first. Then we move toward like, what else is here, right? But we need to do a leaky gut test before we test. If we're going to test for gluten, dairy, or like food reactions, can't do it with the leaky gut. Everything's going to be positive. It's going to be a hot mess. So it's not, it's just something that, it's a tough condition though, right? Really tough. But it's, we just have to fix what's in front of us, right? Because here's a person, go and help. So you're like, I'll figure it out, right? Somebody has hypothyroidism and Sjogren's. I want you to test for Hashimoto's too. Have you tested for Hashimoto's? 85% of people with low thyroid have Hashimoto's. So take a look at that. You want to look at thyroglobulin antibodies. You want to look at thyroid peroxidase antibodies. Okay, those two. And those two will tell you. You can also look for TSI. TSI is for Graves. You would probably know if you have Graves. If you're hypo, you probably don't have Graves. But anyway, I tend to run that just to see. It's an autoimmune thyroid. Okay. No, I'm not going to talk in a British accent. Okay. You're lucky to have helpful supplements and a spinal cord stimulator that works. Oh, that's great. Helpful. Good. Yeah. Low histamine, low oxalate. Let's play with those things. Okay. How do you lose weight with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's? Okay. Let's get on a continuous glucose monitor. That is the way. I want you to get a Lingo or a Stelo. They're both like, you can order them. They're $50 a piece. Each sensor lasts for 2 weeks. Okay. And you're just going to watch it and see what's going on, right? If you're rolling along, amazing. If you're spiking and staying spiked, here's what happens. Blood sugar goes high. Let's say you eat oatmeal and no protein, right? Blood sugar is going to spike, and then it's going to stay spiked for a while. Now, when your blood sugar goes up, your insulin goes up. When your insulin rises, you know what turns on? A little 3D printer on your belly, and just fat gets laid down, because this is where all the extra sugar is going to go, right? Important for you to know that. So if you can stop the spikes, and if we can level you out with protein and fat, and then follow Glucose Goddess. Do you guys follow Glucose Goddess? She's great. She's on Instagram. She's on Facebook. She's on YouTube. She's a little French biochemist, and she's really, really good at explaining this stuff. And she talks a little bit about how we're supposed to be eating, okay? Because we don't want a bunch of blood sugar spikes. It can drive our immune system high. It can just destabilize us, make us inflamed. So what you want to think about, you want to think about your stomach like it's a bowl, okay? And we're going to put veggies in first. Then we're going to get protein in, and any kind of fat, avocado, olive oil, anything like that. And then last, you're going to put a few little carbs sprinkled on top last. Okay. So now this whole thing is going to digest slower, and your carbs are going to get released slower than if you flip it and do carbs first. So when you're at a restaurant, people are like grabbing the bread, grabbing the chips, grabbing all the stuff. That's just carbs. It's going to spike your blood sugar. Okay. Start with veggies, do a salad first, get your meat in, get your fats in. Then if you're going to do carbs, do them last, and don't do a carb alone. Okay. That's my preaching on blood sugar. I tell that speech every freaking day. We've all got blood sugar issues. We all have blood sugars. Came in here to troll, but literally can feel my body do histamine dumps after I eat some foods. You can, right? I mean, it's like, you need to think about the list of high histamine foods, right? So high histamine foods. Okay. Let me think. Leftovers are high histamine. Processed meats are high histamine. Chocolate. Let's see. Spinach. Let's see what else. Tomatoes, any foods that are kind of older, right? There's a whole list of high histamine foods, and I'm not going to pull them all out of my head. But if you have high histamines, you are going to drive a little bit of inflammation. You might have a stuffy nose. Some people that have MCAS are like get hives. You can get hives. I have a gastroenterologist in my town who's really cool. Her name is Michelle Nguyen, and she looks for mast cells in the colonoscopy. Isn't that interesting? So it makes me think, well, you know what? You can have mast cells in your gut lining. Is that causing problems? Maybe. Maybe we need to go on a low histamine diet for a minute. Allegra. Yeah, I mean, the immunologists and allergists that I work with usually have patients take Allegra or Zyrtec or Claritin on sort of a rotating basis. They might have them take more than one. They might have them take Prilosec for blocking, some histamine in the stomach. There's a lot of different strategies. I don't know if taking Allegra every day is okay. I'm not a specialist in that, but I do think that if you need to take Allegra to kind of get the symptoms under control so that we can get to the bottom of it, I feel like it would be a reasonable strategy. We always want to get to the core of it. Like what's driving this thing, right? Oh my goodness, I have a lot of messages. I'm sorry, I'm going to go faster. I'll stop yapping so much. Holy guacamole. Okay, so what else? How do I get rid of stubborn methane SIBO? I really like, have you ever tried a supplement called Metagenics? By Metagenics, it's called Candibactin AR and BR. I want you to follow somebody, go to somebody's website. I can't remember her name. It's SIBOinfo.com. I can't remember her name. She's a naturopath and she specializes in SIBO. She recommends Candibactin AR and BR. So that is something that you could try, and it works pretty well. You got to stay to it though. You got to stick with it. It might take you 6 months of killing to kill it, and you might have to rotate it. Okay. What about LDL? What about, is it LDN for RA? Yeah. So I have some of my patients are on LDN, low-dose naltrexone. It can be an immune system modulator. It can be helpful. Some of my patients take it and they're like, I don't see any change. Okay. It's not for everybody, but it can help for some people. what are my thoughts on regaining sense of smell? Oh my goodness. Yeah, a lot of people from COVID had, sense of smell gone. So I mean, this is a nerve pathway. This is where, you have the nerves in the back of your nose and they get damaged, and then it's hard to get that back. So you can do some sort of smell therapy. I mean, really, I would like literally get 4 or 5 different essential oils and just be smelling them on the regular, trying to stimulate that pathway. I mean, I feel like that's a legitimate therapy. I am in Los Gatos, California. Yeah, I do a lot of Zoom though. I do about half Zoom and I do about half in person in my office. So I'm like the Silicon Valley area. I don't feel good about corn products either. Yeah, corn is legitimately tough. I do think that there's a lot of hybridizing of corn. I think that there's GMO corn, there's hybridization of gluten or wheat, and that seems to be an issue, right? Can you share some tips about ankylosing spondylitis? Oh my gosh, I've been getting a lot of people. I am not ignoring you. I just can't get to everybody. Just hang on. Everybody be patient. So ankylosing spondylitis can be really problematic, right? It's a seronegative autoimmune situation. It's hard to diagnose. It's like the SI joints get really painful. There's some other joints that can get painful. And it's, you will probably be positive HLA-B27. And so I would think about anti-inflammatory things, right? I'm going to think about fish oils. I'm thinking about turmeric. And I think about turmeric being not dried capsules. I think about a liquid turmeric that I carry in my office. It's by Apex. It's called Turmero. And it's got the black pepper and whatever, but it's like all emulsified and it's very, very high concentration. So I would think about that. I would think about playing with some black seed oil. I would think about playing with some resveratrol. I would also think about boswellia and ginger and anti-inflammatory things. Another supplement that I really like a lot called ArthroSoothe, and it's by Designs for Health. It's got like a whole kitchen sink of anti-inflammatories for joints. Think about that. That might be helpful. Shy. Oh, hi, Shy. Nice to see you. Creatinine is high. Are you taking creatine, Shy? Are you feeling like you're a little bit dehydrated? I mean, creatinine being high, we worry about kidneys, right? Then you want to look at other things. You want to look at the GFR. You want to look at the BUN. You want to look at all those together. I'd like to see the GFR of 75 at least, right? But I want to make sure that you're hydrated if you're taking a test. If you're dehydrated and you take the test, creatinine can be like sort of artificially high. So like take a look at that. There's a very high percentage of women in Kalamazoo, Michigan diagnosed with MS. Same with Colorado. I'm from Colorado originally. And I wonder why. I think in Colorado, they were thinking that it was maybe radon. Everybody has to get tested for radon. There's a lot of radon in the dirt, and we have basements there where people are getting exposed to radon, but I don't know, right? I feel like there's something there though. Stress started for me in vitro, my parents screaming. Yeah, you can, look at the ACE scores, right? I mean, people with really high ACE scores that have trauma from childhood, there's more pain in the body. There's more body's dysfunction, high cortisol, there's more autoimmunity. So, yeah. Okay. So someone says positive Graves diagnosis, any specific diet to follow to wean off methimazole? Well, okay. I'm not a person to take you off a medication or put you on a medication because you have a doctor that's managing you. Things that you would want to weave in because you don't want to get off if your thyroid is still overactive. If your thyroid's overactive, it can make your heart race, it can make you anxious, it can make you have a heart attack. So we don't want to mess with that. So that, to be clear, we don't want to do that. But if you would have to work with your doctor to wean off if that was safe for you. I would think about doing like an autoimmune paleo diet, and I would get off of a bunch of foods and then start to kind of put some of them back in. I would at least get off of gluten and dairy, maybe gluten, dairy, corn, soy, and egg for a minute. And if you wanted to do kind of a reduction one of just the AIP diet. How do you get your protein down? Protein in your urine? You want to get that checked out because it could be your kidneys like dumping protein. Sometimes if people have, say, lupus, sometimes their kidneys get damaged and they dump protein. Something to think about. I have a medial radial tendon snap at my wrist. What should I expect? Oh, goodness, that's painful. Well, I mean, are you going to go get that fixed? I have a great doctor I work with that does a lot of like peptide injections and does PRP and does stem cells, things like that. Anyway, just I'm not sure. It's hard when you have a snapped tendon. It's kind of like we got to like probably reattach it if it's an important tendon, right? So does MTFR affect type 2 diabetes? I mean, type 2 diabetes is really, we have to really look at this blood sugar, right? We really have to really look at blood sugar spikes. I don't know that it's really necessarily something genetic-ish. It's more diet and food and how you process foods, right? Sorry, I have to like plug in my phone. Give me a second because I'm gonna die. Sorry, we gotta like give it some juice. Okay. And you also have anemia and hereditary persistence of fetal hemoglobin. That gets pretty complicated. I have 70% adult hemoglobin and 30% fetal. Wow. I don't know anything about that. That's funny. That's a stumper. I usually have something to say about everything. I don't know. MD, thank you for popping on. I just really want everybody to kind of know about stuff, right? Stuff I just talk about every day. Now, I do have an autoimmune shift program that I just opened up. That's an autoimmune support group on Fridays. So if you want to be in an autoimmune support group and you want to be on a Zoom with me on Fridays, join up. There's a whole 13 videos of education about all the basics about autoimmunity, and there's resources. So there's what labs should you get? What do my labs mean? What about a gluten-free diet? Like all the things that I could think of that are helpful resources for my patients are in there, and they're all downloadable. And it's going to be just $50 a month. Okay. Listen, everybody can afford that. And I would want to help you, but I want to help you on Zoom because then you can talk to me and I can actually see your faces. So that's what I want. So that starts this Friday. I have another group that's on Tuesdays that's kind of full. So I'm going to just start a new ones on Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific on Fridays. What's normal for a CGM? So the CGM ranges will be 70 to 140, right? So I don't really like people to spend a lot of time below 70. If you feel like you're getting hypoglycemic, I mean, you can, in the 60s, you start getting a little faint, 50s for sure. I don't really like people to be above, say, 130. You're going to bring your blood sugar up when you eat sometimes. It's fine. But we want to look at kind of the average of what's going on. This is why we want to look at your hemoglobin A1C is an average of the last 90 days, right? But this is going to tell you day to day what's spiking you. And some things will spike you and crash you back down. Okay, fine. But what if it spikes and it stays? That's a bigger impact, right? We don't like that impact. It's too much blood sugar for us. It's stressful for our body, right? It creates high insulin, can make us gain weight, causes a little inflammation. It causes diabetes. We don't want it, okay? So I'd say normal with a CGM, you want to be sort of rolling, okay? And if you can't figure out how to get yourself rolling, let me know. Lisa Cross is my nutritionist, crossintowellness.com if you want to reach out and support her. But she's in my office. Just reach out and I can put you connected if you need it. How do you get rid of, stubborn methane SIBO. Right. I think I answered that guy. Let me get back into, if you have stubborn SIBO, I would get that Metagenics, Candibactin AR and BR. If you need a link, just let me know. I can send you a link. Just give me your name and give me your email and put it in my DMs and I'll send you a link tonight. Oh, thank you, Holly. Strawberries, aged cheeses, fermented foods, peanuts. Yes, those are all high histamine foods. Perfect. What 2 glucose monitors? One is called Lingo, Lingo. The other one is Stelo, Stelo. Now, the Stelo is also integrated into the Oura Ring. That's interesting if you have an Oura Ring. I like the Lingo platform a little bit better, but they're both really good. I mean, it's just, you're not going to wear them forever. You just want to get to the bottom of what's happening, right? So let's see what else. Let's see who else. Sorry, I went too far forward. You have MCAS, was doing okay until I had metabolic acidosis. Still, now I can't tolerate anything. So you're probably taking some antihistamines. I have pretty good success with patients taking quercetin, Quercetin. Quercetin is a really nice flavonoid, bioflavonoid, vitamin C with bioflavonoids, right? You take about 2,000 milligrams of that a day. that could be helpful. You could check that out. From what I've read, the cacao bean is good for us mixed with coconut oil to small amounts of honey. Sure. And you know what? Here's the thing. We can eat lots of things. We just don't want to be spiking our blood sugar too much, right? And sometimes the cacao bean is fine. I don't think that's a problem. Yeah. I've tried that site. It was helpful. I tried candibactin. Yeah, candibactin is a good one. Low dose immunotherapy. Yes. So that's a really legitimate therapy. Absolutely. I have a couple of allergists around in my area that do that therapy. It's good. It's great. Especially if people are having like airborne allergies, dust mites, hay fever, and they're really triggery. Yeah, those are helpful. Have patients with autoimmune conditions improved with the consumption of fresh milled flour? Not really. I mean, if it's wheat, and even if it's like grains from Europe, it can be triggery. Some people tell me they can do grains over in Europe. Some people can't. Their grains are different. We are not okay with our wheat over here. It's not great. Can I explain a hot nodule? Hot nodule. Are we talking about like a thyroid nodule or something like that? Like a hot nodule that would be swollen maybe? I mean, it's just Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Like if it's a swollen thyroid, maybe. I don't know what that is. ApoA is 146. Any advice? Lost 70 pounds, drink water, electrolytes, exercise, and eat very clean. Good. Okay. So I love that you're exercising. I think that you really, is this lipoprotein A? Is that what you're talking about? Like LP little a? So if it's lipoprotein A, that is one that's very hard to change. I feel like people come in with it and it's really hard to shift. I do see lipoprotein A go up when people get on statins sometimes. The conundrum of statins is tricky. But then apolipoprotein B is the one that tells us if we are like developing heart disease. So that's one that we want to kind of watch too. So I love that you've made all these changes. It's really going to help. So look at your overall picture. You can do a cardio IQ panel with inflammation through Quest. It's very informative. It breaks it all down into the sub fractions of small particles, big particles, all the things. So yeah, someone has presumed POTS, has had 22, maybe 2 ANA with fine speckled pattern. Okay. Dense fine speckled or fine speckled? Yeah. So for the reflex assay is negative. Okay. So see, we want to think about, you have an autoimmune marker sitting. Now, dense fine speckled, doesn't tend to go toward autoimmunity. It tends to say there's a virus, there's inflammation, there's something going on there, right? But fine speckled, I can't remember if that one actually goes to something or not. And I don't have my ability to kind of look it up. I want you to think about what triggered this. When did this start? Did it start with COVID? Do you have gut symptoms? How's your vitamin D? What's happening with your food? What food triggers do you have? I want you to think about all these things because this is how I will move you through. This is why I kind of created a program so that people can move through and then we can talk about it so that we can figure out how we're going to calm this down. Okay. So lots and lots of things. Okay. This person has Crohn's, POF, Hashimoto's, glomerulonephritis, EDS, dysautonomia, MCAS, maybe mastocytosis too. You really have just won the prize, haven't you? Holy moly, Capro. Okay. So, there's some autoimmunity here. There's hypermobility. When you have hypermobility, you need to think about your barriers, like your skin barrier and your gut barrier, like it is a loosely woven basket. And the mast cells sit underneath that basket and they come up and they pop up really easily. That's why they do that really easily for you. When other people have tighter woven basket, they don't have EDS, they don't have hypermobility, they tend to not have the mast cell stuff. Okay. So Crohn's, we've got some damage to the gut lining. I want you to think about, and Hashimoto's, so there's autoimmunity happening, right? So do you know what your food triggers are? I would love to see a leaky gut panel on you to see if your gut barrier is broken. I'd love to see a food panel on you and figure out what your food triggers are. I'd love to get you on a product that's called RepairVite by Apex that has L-glutamine and aloe vera and glycerized licorice and marshmallow root and slippery elm. And it's lovely and healing and amazing. I'd also love to get you on butyrate, acetate, propionate, short chain fatty acids to try to seal the gut. That's what I'd love to do. If you want to join in my program, I can just chat with you on Fridays, every Friday, as much as you want. I can help you figure it out. Sybil's back. Hey, Sybil. Sybil says, oh, you were admitted last night and got a blood transfusion. Oh, and Gwen's here. Hi, Gwen. And iron infusion. Hemoglobin was 6.8. Okay, Sybil, that is so worrisome. The hemoglobin being 6.8, that is nuts. So I'm glad you got a blood transfusion, iron transfusion. Do you know, are you bleeding? Are you, like, what's happening? You're bleeding somewhere, something. I don't know if you're having heavy cycles, if you're having blood in your stool, like what is happening, Sybil? Hemoglobin 6.8. How are you walking, girl? That's scary. Gwen is here. So Gwen is Lupus Chick. She is, she's awesome. She's on TikTok. Follow her. She has lots and lots of resources about lupus. She's doing a lot of lupus support, and she's amazing. So give her a follow. I have a positive, Rachel says I have positive ANA and high RNP with all the lupus symptoms, but can't get diagnosed. Yeah. So Rachel, sometimes what happens is you have enough of a sort of a positive, but you don't have a full diagnosis. So it's kind of like you want to think about like it's loading, right? You want to kind of go, okay, this is almost like a range of 1 to 10. 10, you have lupus, you're diagnosed, you have a full diagnosis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you might have like symptoms and you might have some positives, but not enough to bring you to 10 and diagnose you. So you're in this no man's land, right? And it's really frustrating. And this is why I made a program so that you can go, how do I go through this and figure out supplements, food, leaky gut? Like, let's figure this out. How do you calm it down so that it backs itself up versus drives forward? That's the plan, right? This is why, because I can't tell you every single one of you what you need to do because I don't have enough time in my whole life. So I'm just trying to I made a set of 13 videos that you watch. It's all part of my, if you want to be part of the autoimmune support group, it's on Fridays, 11 a.m. Pacific, and you get resources, you have videos, you have all sorts of things that you can go through and learn. And then you can ask me questions on video on there. So if you want some support, Rachel, that's where I would send you because I can give you support and tell you what you're doing right and wrong. Okay. And how to calm this down. We can really calm some of this down. It's amazing. Shy, EGFR, CKD, EPI 97. Okay. Shy's having a hard time with kidneys. I'm thinking this is going on. So do you have, Shy, do you have lupus or anything? Are you dealing with kidney stuff? What's happening? I would love to know that because I'm forgetting if, what's going on. Okay. Let's see. I'm not a rheumatologist. So Josh, I am not a rheumatologist. Let me tell you what I am. I am a certified nutritionist. I've done 1,200 hours of functional medicine training, and I'm also a chiropractor. I'm all those things. I've been in practice for 30 years. I see so much autoimmunity. I run so much blood work. Really had to kind of nail this down for people. Oh, cat bro, you react to quercetin. Okay, that's not going to be a strategy for you. What if you tried some black cumin seed oil? Would that help? I wonder. We need to kind of get, what if you do you react to vitamin C with bioflavonoids? Sometimes that can be a mast cell stabilizer. I had a negative ANA with rheumatologist, but a positive ANA with primary. Yeah, I know, this is tricky. So the immune system is really changeable. It just changes, right? So it's a movable situation, right? So you get a virus, you can trigger that, right? It's so you're kind of teetering positive, negative. It happens. You can even get a positive ANA homogeneous and then it'll move to speckled, right? These things change, right? I have POTS and positive ANA, did follow up with labs. Doctor said I didn't have autoimmune, but was hypermobile. Okay, so if you have hypermobility, you have a higher chance of having autoimmunity, right? Sorry, I'm trying to set my phone and charge it at the same time. Sorry if that's annoying. I'm going to set this down now. So POTS goes with hypermobility. POTS goes with autoimmunity. Sorry, you guys. I feel like you guys are going to throw up. Sorry. Geez, phones. And so these things all get woven together. So you have higher chance of having autoimmunity because you're hypermobile. It's like this all braided together. It's wild, isn't it? So you need to consider yourself as an autoimmune patient. And we need to have you live kind of an autoimmune lifestyle, right? We need to consider what foods trigger you. We need to get you on vitamin A, vitamin D. We need to get you on something like glutathione. That's an immune system modulator, right? We need to come up with some strategies, and we need to consider that you could at some point in your life develop full-blown something. So this is your warning shot. You have a positive ANA, it's not bad yet. Great. Let's maximize your knowledge about this so that you know how to proceed, because it's hard to know all the stuff, right? This is what I really do. Okay, yes, Sheila, ApoB. Thank you. Okay, so I want you to get lipoprotein, little a, sorry. You've already gotten apolipoprotein B. So the more you work with your diet and your blood sugar and your exercise and your weight loss, you should notice that your ApoB starts to drop. Okay. So just keep going. Don't stop. Okay. Keep going. Just because you land at something that's like, I think it was 164, doesn't mean it's going to stay. You want that to be sub 90, right? Great. Let's keep going. Okay. Don't stop. Red eyes and a rash. Yes. So this is, a lot of my patients come in and they're like, they have a bright red eye. And then we're like, let's run some autoimmune markers on you, right? Let's figure this out. So, and then sometimes it'll come up with something like ankylosing spondylitis or uveitis. I don't know. We have to figure it out. These people get referred to a rheumatologist, and I am supporting them with food and supplements and how the heck we calm this down, and actually just teaching them, right, how to do it. Leaky gut panel. I love Cyrex Labs. I like them the best. They're out of Arizona, and it's something they're actually on a group. They're on a platform called Rupa. So if you ever wanted to do a leaky gut panel, I can send you a link for that. You can do the blood draw, and then you overnight ship it. Then the results come to me. Let me know if you need that. What's in a leaky gut panel? Okay. So when the gut so what we're looking for is occludin and zonulin and actomyosin. Actomyosin is part of the scaffolding of the gut, and occludin and zonulin is more simple leaky gut. If you did a stool test and you ate a bunch of fiber, your occludin and zonulin could get high. So I don't like to look at it in the stool. I like to look at it at the blood work. Okay. So you were looking for occludin and zonulin, but then we're also looking for something that's called lipopolysaccharides. Now, lipopolysaccharides is a more severe type of leaky gut where the gut actually, there's a bad gram-negative bacteria that will get attached, maybe E. coli, maybe C. diff, maybe Shiga, something like that, and it'll tend to open up that gut lining. This is how people get sepsis, okay? This is a severe, severe form of leaky gut. So we have to often get them to handle the gram-negative bacteria, probably with an antibiotic that I do not prescribe, and then get their gut repaired. So it's kind of an interesting test, but I like the leaky gut tests that are blood work, but not stool. Okay. So yes, so I specialize in autoimmunity. I also specialize in concussions and neurological stuff like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. That's just what I do because I have one of the Alzheimer's markers, so I'm super passionate about preventing Alzheimer's. Anyway, no blood in the stool, normal periods, still doing tests to find out why my hemoglobin is so low. Yep, something's up, Sybil. I know Gwen and I are worried about you. We watch you guys. We're like, what the heck? And so Gwen and I meet on, she's part of my autoimmune support group. And we talk about all you guys that are a hot mess. I'm like, come on, we got to be worried about these people, and she's in there supporting a bunch of people. So super helpful. Yes, I do treat patients with RA and Beckett's. And you know what? Anything that's autoimmune, it's like you're living under an umbrella, right, of autoimmunity. So the principles are the same. This is just the diagnosis is like the target tissues changed. Hashimoto's means it's in your thyroid, right? Rheumatoid arthritis means it's in your joints. So there's just a different target tissue. We're going to be working on food triggers. We're working on, do you have leaky gut? We're working on getting your vitamin D higher because vitamin D is an immune system modulator. This is an immune system problem. Autoimmunity is an immune system problem. Your immune system has gotten confused and is attacking you. There's a lot of reasons why. And now we want your immune system to calm the heck down. That's the whole goal. That's my whole entire program. How do we calm this down, right? I'm never going to guarantee that anybody's going to go negative on their autoimmunity. It happens sometimes. Doesn't happen a lot of the times. So autoimmunity is like a switch. It switches on. We do have a little bit of control with the volume knob, but not with the off and on switch. It's on, right? So we just have to kind of like figure out what's triggering the immune system. Sometimes it's Epstein-Barr. Now, Epstein-Barr, Stanford did that study lately that said lupus, the people with lupus have higher concentrations of EBV in their T cells, B cells. There's a lot in there compared to a person who doesn't have lupus. So did Epstein-Barr trigger it? That's what they've come to that conclusion. Or did the immune system get overwhelmed and then the EBV rose up and took over like an opportunistic infection? Maybe. We don't know for sure, but we know the EBV is a monster. It's really aggressive, and so is COVID. Oh, God, COVID was just so triggery. So yeah, I treat all of these conditions. I treat it. I help to manage your immune system, try to calm this down. Same with MS. It's just, that the immune system is attacking your myelin sheaths, okay? And that's a problem. So there's a lot of food triggers. There's a lot of foods that we can get exposed to when we eat that those foods look like the proteins that are being attacked. Myelin. Okay. Myelin cross-reactive foods that have this thing called molecular mimicry, myelin and spinach, myelin and black beans and corn. Those are three that are big for MS. I have somebody that's in my office who has MS, so we really research that a lot. This is called molecular mimicry. And this is the work of Dr. Karazian and Dr. Vijdani, who are in LA, and they're doing lots and lots of work on what foods, proteins, like if you take a protein of a food, corn, for example, and you pull it out and you make it like repeating patterns of amino acid chains, okay? It has repeating patterns that could look like our myelin in our body, or maybe our thyroid gland, or maybe our tissues in our joint. So it's called molecular mimicry because the immune system is like, well, I'm going to attack the corn, but I'm also going to attack my myelin sheath, and I'm also going to attack my thyroid because they all look like similar proteins. This is immunology, and I tell you, people, you want to talk to the smartest people I've ever met, talk to the immunologists. They're just like so fascinating. There's a couple of immunologists that have run Cyrex and run immunosciences in LA. These are great labs that we can test. How's the T cells and the B cells and what's happening with the immune system? You can test it. Isn't that wild? Like what's overacting? We can know things. We know a lot more than we did 20 years ago. Someone said, what else? What else are we seeing? Okay, hold on a second. So can you share some thoughts on hypermobility syndrome and mixed connective tissue as well? So we've got, hypermobility. Remember, you're going to have tissue that's not tight. It's got a little looser woven, right? So you're going to have mast cells at the surface that can kind of come through that. And you can get, you can scratch your arm and it turns bright red and it has streaks on it for a while, right? That can often be looser tissue that's kind of flexible and hypermobile joints, okay? So, and it's different than someone who it's different than mixed connective tissue disease. That's more of an autoimmune thing where your immune system is actually attacking that joint tissue muscle, okay? So it's similar. I mean, there's problems in two things. Now, there's so much connection between hypermobility and autoimmunity, and I can't really tell you why. I don't know the mechanism behind it. I know that I just see it a lot. So it's frustrating. So again, getting to the bottom of why this triggered. Sammy, do I need to take immunosuppressants for MS? You might, okay? Because MS can be really destructive. It can damage the nerves. It can damage the myelin sheath. It can damage the brain. You can have white matter in your brain. These things are really damaging and you can't get that back. So I have my patients that have MS are also on immunosuppressants, and that's important to them to keep their disease calm And so then we weave in, make sure they're on vitamin D, figure out their food triggers, get them sleeping. How's their hormones? What does their blood work look like, right? Do they have inflammation? Why? Like, let's get to the bottom of that. So that's how I work with that. But, I would consider, talk to your rheumatologist. They're going to tell you. If they're saying yes, then I would say do it, right? What's your opinion on someone with RA trying daily grounding for inflammation? I have some patients that do a lot of do grounding and have grounding sheets and stuff. And, I don't know enough about it. I do see that they feel better and they like it. And I feel like if you're doing something that's making you feel better, go for it. Do it. Yeah. Positive ANA and low-grade fevers for weeks at a time, major fatigue, low quality of life. Right. So this is low-grade fevers are kind of part of autoimmunity. So we want to figure out, this tells me you have active disease happening. Okay. So here's the goal. This is why I put together a whole course and a program and its autoimmune support group is I want your immune system to go like this, not this. I just want to level it out. How do we get it leveled out? And your leveling might be different than somebody else's leveling, right? You might have chronic viral triggers. You might have chronic food triggers. You might have some leaky gut. You might have some things where you just don't sleep, or your hormones are shifted because you had a baby or you got into menopause, or, when your estrogen drops after being pregnant, estrogen crashes, or in menopause, that's a time that autoimmunity can flare because estrogen is anti-inflammatory. Okay. Okay. ANA positive, am titer 1 in 160, speckled pattern and nothing except for low vitamin D, and my symptoms are long. Yeah, you need more data, right? You need more data. So this is why, how do you treat lupus nephritis? I don't really treat it. I treat their immune system to try to slow down the attack. I'm not going to treat lupus nephritis, right? We have to kind of figure out what creates the flares, right? Does this person need to be on prednisone to calm the immune system down? Do they need to be on hydroxychloroquine? Do they need to be on methotrexate? We are not in the functional medicine world. I think the most important message that I have is we have to play medicine and functional medicine and both sides. We have to walk the middle ground. We have to braid them together. Neither side can claim to have the answers because we don't, right? Immunologists have a lot of information and a lot of medication is important, but also if your vitamin D is 14, you're not going to calm down your immune system. If you're still eating gluten and dairy and those are triggers for you, you're not going to calm that down. You live in a house that has a bunch of mold and is triggering you, you're not going to calm it down, right? So what is driving the immune system is what we're trying to figure out. It's like a big, put out your investigations and try to figure it out. Okay. So, and not everything is everything, right? Listen, it's hard. It's so hard when providers say lupus, others say autoimmune. It's really confusing, right? So what I want you to understand is that if you can't get a full diagnosis, you still need to figure out how to calm your immune system down. Okay. We're not going to get stuck in diagnosis. We're going to say, what am I going to do about it? Okay. That is my goal, is trying to get you guys to understand that I don't want you just focus on the diagnosis. So what? Okay. You have a diagnosis. Amazing. But you have autoimmunity and your immune system is active and it's attacking you. So what are you going to do about it? We have to have a plan, right? You got to balance your blood sugar. We have to get you sleeping. We have to get you eating foods that aren't triggering you. We got to figure out how to get your inflammation down. We got to figure out do you have leaky gut? Do you have sores and stuff in your nose? Maybe you need to be on vitamin A. That's super helpful for the barriers in your body. So many things. So what else? Okay. So vitamin D was 11. I'm on 50,000 IUs. Okay. Of vitamin D a week. Good. Possible MCAS. Symptoms on Histoquel, Zyrtec, and Pepcid. Okay, so hopefully you're starting to feel a little better. Let's make sure that now once that we're calming this down a little bit, it's like, okay, what's triggering me? Get on a low histamine diet for a little bit. See if it feels better. Thanks. I'm glad you like my hair. Thank you. Okay, ANA titer of 1 in 1280. Nucleus large speckled pattern. I don't want to take meds anymore. Done. Okay. Mary, we need a plan, right? If you don't want to take meds anymore, then we need to kind of drill into other things. We need to drill into fish oils. We need to drill into turmeric. We need to get in on your vitamin D. We love, love, love glutathione. Ask Gwen. I'm a big glutathione fan. Glutathione is an immune system modulator. It's also protective of the tissues of your body. It's also calming your immune system down from attacks. So we love glutathione. It's amazing. We love it. Love it, love it. It's my number one supplement. If I had to pick one supplement, okay, if I had to pick two, it'd be vitamin D and glutathione. Those are my faves. So I want to figure out what other questions, because I got to wrap up shortly because I've got to go make dinner. Psychiatrist here. How often do you see personality components influence and amplify complaints? Oh my goodness, so much. Right? Like it's, yeah, for sure. I also see really low blood sugar happening with patients, and that makes them really anxious and they feel like they just have chronic anxiety. I also feel like I see high blood sugar driving inflammation. I see like people that have like a lot of depression and anxiety and low motivation. I see high inflammation markers in their blood work. I see unstable blood sugar up and down. I see that their vitamin D is in a hole. I see that they don't have enough B12 sometimes. A lot of women, I see that they don't have enough iron and they're not eating enough protein. So I feel like sometimes we think we can just live on carbs and our blood sugar's up and down and it doesn't matter, but it matters to your brain. Your brain needs to have consistent fuel, right? So I think it's a big deal. My son is like in his 20s and I was like, please become like a therapist or something. I really want you to work with anxious people and I really want to help you with their nutrition. But he's not going to do that. He wants to be an electrician, so that's fine. I did not go to medical school. I mean, you might have missed it. I'm a certified nutritionist. I'm also a functional medicine practitioner, and I'm a chiropractor. I've done 1,200 hours of functional medicine training through the Dr. Krasian Institute. So I just work with weaving in functional medicine strategies in with traditional medicine. I work with a lot of rheumatologists. I work with a lot of immunologists. I work with a lot of practitioners in my community and on Zoom to try to figure out what we're going to do with these patients. Because a lot of my doctor friends, they don't know what they're going to do with these patients. They've done their medication route and they don't know what's next, right? I'm like, give them to me. I'll help you figure them out. So yeah, everybody needs a lot of support. Will Zepbound help with my RA? Okay, this is really interesting, crazy kitten lady. So Zepbound has been really interesting for me. There's a gal that's in one of my support groups who has crazy RA, like to the point that like none of her medications are helping. And I can put anything on this woman and there's no changing this hand pain. She can barely turn her a jar. It's crazy. She got on Zepbound. She got on tirzepatide, if I think that's Zepbound. And her pain literally went away. It's like, what? This is crazy. And she's not overweight. I always think about Zepbound or Ozempic or Mounjaro, like that they're reducing people's, hunger and they lose weight and they lose fat. So they lower inflammation. But no, this was like day one. She had way less pain in her hand. So I think there's a lot to discover here. I mean, I'm not a prescriber, so I don't know. It's just what I'm observing, right? So pretty interesting. So, okay. So Adam, if you look up with MS on food and data, so the studies are being done by Dr. Vijdani. It's Vjodani. He's an immunologist. And then Dr. Krasian. It's Kharrazian. If you DM me and you want me to send you that study on MS and food triggers, this is what they have posted. And they're doing some really interesting studies with repeating patterns of amino acid chains and how they're mimicking our own tissue of our body and how they believe that that's triggering the immune system to attack food gets attacked and tissues get attacked. So yeah, there's some really interesting data on that. Yeah, so let me know if you want that link because I can help you help I can give that to you. Your daughter has EDS. Okay. She needs to go to, she needs to get her autoimmune markers done. She needs to get her ANA done. She needs to get Hashimoto's markers done. She needs to do all sorts of stuff. Hi from Boston. Okay, hopefully I won't keep you up for too long. I'm going to hop off in just a minute so you can go to bed. What else? I need to work with you. I hate chemical pharmaceuticals. Well, I'm happy to work with you. I'm not against pharmaceuticals. I find that they're helpful. They help stabilize people, right? I mean, we're not going to demonize anybody. I'm not a demonizer of anything. So I'm not like, my way is better. Both need to be put together, right? So yeah, let me know. I mean, you can look on my link tree. If you guys want to work with me or get into my group, go into my link tree in my bio, just click on that. And there's a join the shift. That's my autoimmune shift program. That's on Fridays. You can work with me 30 minutes or an hour. I'm happy to talk with you. I'm happy to look at your labs. I'm happy to help you interpret your labs and just give you my opinion, right? Do I use hair tests? I don't. I like blood tests. I do a GI map test I like. I don't tend to do hair tests. I feel like they're a little bit unpredictable and I don't use them usually. What conditions do you typically see with alcohol sensitivity? Well, people have genetic alcohol flushing, right? It's people that are, can get alcohol flushing. Now, my daughter has alcohol flushes right here, but also she has a lupus marker, right? She has an ANA homogeneous pattern, and she gets this sort of butterfly rash if she drinks alcohol. So I feel like there's a correlation, but that's just my patient sample size of 1 from my daughter. So I don't know. I mean, my husband also has alcohol flushing and he does not have an autoimmune condition. So that's probably not totally legit. So if you want to work with me, get on my link tree, click on the link and it'll bring you to my whole platform of what you can do. I'd love for you guys to join my program. I love working with you guys. Oh, 20 years daily pain, CRPS. Oh, power of kindness. I hate CRPS. It's the worst, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. That's a tough one. I've been using my cold laser with some of my patients with CRPS. It seems to be helpful, but I'm also just looking at blood work to try to figure out like what is wrong here. Like, how can we make sure you have plenty of iron, plenty of B12, plenty of oxygenation of tissues in your fingers and your toes or wherever you're getting it. God, CRPS is the worst. I'm so sorry. That sucks. Yeah, check out my link in my bio. Thanks, Gwen. Gwen's the best. Remember, follow her, Lupus Chick, on TikTok. Okay. And also, yes, she's the founder of EIL, Empowerment in Illness. Love. She's doing great work. So follow her over there. What should I ask my doctor with vascular, Ehlers-Danlos, RA, stomach issues? Also have AATD. Okay. So, I want you to, anytime you have Ehlers-Danlos, you really have to be watched by somebody to make sure you don't have like floppy tissues in the heart, right? And the way that the aorta comes out and all the vasculature, you have to be really managed by somebody. But you have RA. So that's a part that I would say we need to calm your immune system down so it's not attacking your joints. I don't want you to end up with lots and lots of RA disability. I find that my rheumatoid arthritis patients are really sensitive to nightshades, tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, but also gluten and dairy, oftentimes lectins, which are nuts and seeds and peas and peanuts. So you got to figure it out. Like, we got to put you on an AIP diet for a little bit. In my group, we can all go on an AIP diet for a little while, and then we can reintroduce foods and we can talk about it and we can figure out what it is. You need support. You need support. You don't have a support. And I want you to meet other people who also have autoimmunity so that you don't feel alone. Okay. That's the goal. Create a platform where everybody's supporting each other. Yeah. Comprehensive labs. Listen, comprehensive labs. I find that vitamin D is really low on people. Like, if they're not taking vitamin D, their vitamin D is like 14. There's a lot of studies. They're like, hey, you can have anxiety and your brain doesn't work as well if you don't have enough vitamin D, right? Blood sugar is huge. I ask these people, how much protein are you eating? Oh, I'm a vegan. I'm like, okay, but you got to be careful about your protein, right? You got to be eating some protein to stabilize your blood sugar. So I'm glad you popped on. I have a lot of opinions and they're not all right. I'm just telling you what I see, just telling you what I do, trying to get people to calm down. So what can I do about binge eating during perimenopause? Eating lots of fiber, protein already. Okay, you know what I think would be really helpful is if you got a blood sugar monitor, and it's kind of like your little accountability partner, and it tells you exactly what's happening with your blood sugar, so you can really see like the cause and effect of like what you're eating and how it affects your blood sugar. I mean, maybe that's just a piece that could be helpful for you to kind of have some, just have a bigger view on what's going on, right? That might be helpful. Lots of protein, lots of fat, okay? Making you feel a lot more full. Have I treated anyone with my myasthenia gravis? Yes. Yes. And it's tricky because it's really an autoimmune thing that hits on some nerves that, often don't come back. But I also believe that you have some autoimmunity sitting in there ready to, when you have one autoimmune condition, you can develop a second one or a third one. It's like, hey, I'm going to attack my thyroid and now I'm going to shift over and attack my joints. It's not hard. So we got to consider that if you have one autoimmune condition, our goal is for you to not develop two and to calm this one down a little bit. That's our goal. There's a gal in our group, and Gwen in my group, who I've been working with for about a year, and her TPO, thyroid peroxidase, Hashimoto's numbers the lab just said over 900 when I started working with her. And then they moved down to 500, and then they were at 280, and now they're in at 120 is her latest lab, 140. And I'm like, yes. So we have less thyroid destruction. So then if the thyroid's not being destroyed, it can work better, right? So let's just calm this stuff down, okay? So is it possible for me to get diagnosed with RA now? I've been told I don't have it. Well, you might have something different from RA. You might have what they call undifferentiated connective tissue disorder or mixed connective tissue disorder, or polymyositis or myositis, or these are sort of itises that are autoimmune and you have a positive ANA, but you don't necessarily have RA. That's okay. We'll still take you. We need to calm your immune system down before you do develop RA. Okay. And you probably have joint pain, right? Yeah, I like comprehensive non-MD care for complex cases too. I mean, I love working with, I got so many medical doctors that are just like, listen, I wish I knew all the things and I don't know what else to do. And they're frustrated because they want to help you guys, but some of you aren't bad enough for medication, or they don't want to medicate you. So then they don't have any other tools, right? So this is not a competition between me knowing more than a medical doctor. They can do them and stay in their lane. I'm going to stay in my lane, and then the patients get better. And that's our goal, right? I feel like most of my doctor friends will agree with that. So anyway, I am going to answer a couple more. Thanks, Gwen. Yeah, join me on my group on Fridays. It's fun. Gwen will be there. We'll pop in and we'll be chatting with you guys and figuring out what you got going on, right? Let's figure it out. Let's chat. Let's join a group. Let's get some support, right? Just pop it in the link on my bio. It's a great group. I take vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, DHEA, NAC, potassium. I'm postmenopausal. Okay. Yes, this seems all fine. I don't know how your DHEA is. I don't know. I don't often do DHEA unless I see it's really low. Some of my perimenopausal patients or my menopausal patients do really well with getting on bioidentical hormone replacement, like estrogen patch and progesterone, because the estrogen is anti-inflammatory and they feel better and their joints feel better. Yeah. If you are a candidate for hormone replacement and you are perimenopausal or menopausal, do it. What can help chronic pain from fibromyalgia? Figuring out what's happening with your immune system. And this is the thing. We have to figure out why you have fibromyalgia. What started this? What's happening? What autoimmune markers do you have? Why are they there? And then this is why I made 13 videos for you guys to watch on different topics of blood sugar and vitamin D and food triggers and leaky gut, all the things, right? And then you go, oh my God, I think it's because I had a baby and then that triggered. It must be, maybe it's a hormone trigger, or, oh my God, this happened after COVID, or, oh my God, it was a big stress when I got divorced from my husband. Or then we can go, okay, great. You caught a fish. That fish is high stress. What are we doing about your cortisol? Maybe we should start there, right? It's it's a journey of self-discovery, right? So through this program, you will decide what you need, and you're going to tell me, and I'm going to say, here's the link to that supplement. Go get it. That's how we support you, right? I can't tell everybody what you guys have. You can tell you what you have, because you can just watch the video and go, oh my God, that's me. Oh my God, that's totally me. I got SIBO, and then I got leaky gut, and then I got this autoimmune disease. So this is why it's important for you to go through it for yourself and learn, and then you report to us in the group, and then we go, great, let's help, right? Oh, you're allergic to alcohol. So many people with autoimmunity can't do alcohol. Okay, but power of kindness, you have CRPS is awful, but you have a great pain surgeon with spinal cord stimulator that takes the edge off. I'm so thankful. How do you get a monitor? You go on the website, go look up Lingo or Stello, and you can pop on their website. They're $50 a piece. Get two. Just do one for 2 weeks and then wait and then do another one. Super curious. It's so good. It's really interesting to figure out what's going on with your blood sugar. So yeah, there's so much gray area, right? It's just such a gray area, Hashimoto's, all these different things. So if you feel like you want support, I can support you individually one-on-one, but let me tell you, there's power in a group. There's power with meeting other people who have autoimmunity, who can say, oh, I had that, and you know what solved that for me? Blah, blah, whatever. And it's like, oh my gosh, we learned about terzepatides and RA. We learned about black seed oil from RISPR. We learned about so many different things like glutathione, because Lorenza was like, glutathione saved me, and then that was helping her with her Hashimoto's and her. So we all have to figure this out. And we can't be alone in this. It's not helpful to be alone. So if you want to get in my program, hop on my LinkedIn, get in there. Let's watch all the videos, figure out what you got, report in. There's downloadables in there. What labs you should get. What do the labs mean? What should I do on an AIP diet? I mean, there's so many resources in there, and there's links to all the supplements in there through the program. So all of you that are in the program get 25% off of FullScript supplements. So if you are a big supplement buyer, pop in, you can get the links. We can get you anything you need. And it's easy. It's all there. It's on an app called Kajabi. It's going to be great. So I hope I can see you guys there. And I'm going to go home and make dinner because my husband's like, listen, it's 8:15. Are you coming home? And I'm like, yeah, it's been a long day. But I'm power of kindness. Good. Let's make it. Let's talk. I'm excited. I'm so excited you guys jumped on. I have committed to doing 90 days of lives. This is day 5. Wish me luck. So I'll be here again tomorrow. I work until 5:30. I'll probably be on Pacific Standard Time about 6. So if you want to pop on tomorrow, if you have any questions, if I didn't get to your questions, you can always DM me. I don't always get into all my comments on TikTok, but if you can like DM me, I do get to those, the requests. But I can't get into all the comments. My eyeballs across. So thanks you guys for hopping in. I loved all the doctors that popped in. Hope to see you guys again soon. I'll see you tomorrow. Whew. To clean this. I'm hoping this will help. This is such a great thing, and I just don't know why. It's just so sticky. I don't need an answer. I don't need to. I liked that. That worked out okay. I just have to remember to charge my phone because it kind of gets deadly. I gotta get some more water. Yeah. Oh my God, I have so much to do. 75, 77. But today was great. Today was exactly what I needed it to be. Literally everything I needed it to be. So I can get I'm not going to do it yet.